How are you guys doing? Today is Monday, May 23rd, 2022. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review yesterday's Elite matchups and performances from Sunday, May 22nd. And of course, I'm going to preview everything that's going on today as we navigate through the world of sports one day at a time. Taking a quick step back and looking at where we are in the calendar year, we are currently in the NFL offseason as the NFL doesn't start back until September, as it's in the midst of its offseason. And we are in this gap between the NFL draft and the NFL preseason, so that's about where we are there. In the NBA, there are 4 teams that are left competing for the 2022 NBA title, as one of those 3 teams is currently facing elimination as of right now. One more loss and they're out, and I'll get to that in a second. In the NHL, there are still 8 teams left here in the second round, as one team is now facing elimination at this very point, very early. But as of right now, everything is still moving pretty smoothly. Taking a look at what's going on in the MLB, we are in about the second month of the MLB season. That's going to be going on until October. And then taking a look at what's going on with soccer, yesterday was the last day of the domestic seasons in England, Spain, and Italy, as the 5 major leagues' regular seasons are officially done. Now all that's left to be played is the Champions League final this upcoming weekend. But with that said, I'm going to take a look at what happened in the NBA first, as we are still in the midst of a very intense playoff series, of course, on both sides of this matchup. But of course, on the Western Conference side, the 3-seed Golden State Warriors would come into Game 3 holding a 2-0 lead as they would face off the 4-seed Dallas Mavericks. And of course, taking a look at how the first 2 games fared in San Francisco, the Warriors won Game 1 by 25 and they won Game 2 by 9. They would win Game 3 by 9 as well after they beat the Mavericks 109-100 in Dallas. The difference in this matchup was the third quarter, in which the Warriors outscored the Mavericks by 9. Outside of that, it was a pretty even game for the first, second, and fourth quarters combined. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown 4-seed Dallas Mavericks were led in scoring by their elite starting shooting guard out of Slovenia, Luka Doncic. He would go on to finish with 40 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 assists, along with a steal and 2 blocks in 40 minutes. He would shoot 11 for 23 from the field, 4 for 9 from 3, and he would shoot 14 for 17 from the foul line. Their point guard off the bench, Spencer Dinwiddie, who started the season with the Wizards, finished with 26 points in 32 minutes. He shot 7 for 13 from the field, 4 for 10 from 3, and he made all 8 of his free throws. The Mavericks starting point guard out of Villanova, the former college champ Jalen Brunson, finished with 20 points and 5 rebounds in 37 minutes. Brunson shot 7 for 12 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3, and he shot 3 for 4 from the free throw line. On the winning end of this matchup, the 3-seed Golden State Warriors were led in scoring by their goated starting point guard Stephen Curry. Their point guard out of Davidson finished with 31 points, 5 rebounds, and 11 assists in 39 minutes. The 2-time NBA MVP would go on to shoot 10 for 20 from the field, 5 for 10 from 3, and he made all 6 of his free throws. Their starting small forward and all-star Andrew Wiggins finished with 27 points and 11 rebounds, not to mention a very memorable poster dunk. He would go on to finish with 27 points, 11 rebounds as well in 40 minutes, as he shot 11 for 20 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3, and 4 for 5 from the free throw line. Their elite starting shooting guard, Klay Thompson, finished with 19 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists in 39 minutes. He shot 6 for 18 from the field, 3 for 10 from 3, and he made all 4 of his free throws. Their all-star starting power forward, Draymond Green, finished with 10 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals in 37 minutes, as he shot 5 for 10 from the field. Their shooting guard off the bench, Jordan Poole, finished with 10 points and 5 rebounds, as well as 2 steals in 28 minutes. With this win, the 3-seed Golden State Warriors now hold a 3-0 series lead over the 4-seed Dallas Mavericks, as the Mavericks' back are literally against the wall, as the Mavericks are now facing elimination. They are not yet eliminated, though. With this win, the Warriors have to win any of the next 4 games if they want to make it to the NBA Finals. Game 4 is scheduled for tomorrow in Dallas, as the Warriors could be the first team into the NBA Finals as early as tomorrow. The Mavericks have to win the next 4 games if they want to make it to the NBA Finals, as they would have to win Game 4 at home, Game 5 in San Francisco, Game 6 back in Dallas, and Game 7 in San Francisco. It hasn't happened very often in the past. Don't know if it has, but at the same time, it's still very possible. Taking a look at what is going on now today in the NBA playoffs. Today should, of course, be Game 4 in the Eastern Conference Finals, as the 2-seed Boston Celtics are prepared to host the number 1 seed Miami Heat. The Heat now lead this series 2-1 after they won Game 3 in Boston by 6. The Heat have to win, of course, 2 of the next 4 games if they want to make it through. The Celtics have to win 3 of the next 4 if they want to make it through. So that is, of course, what's going on in that series, as neither of these teams is necessarily facing elimination tonight. But this is a must-win game for both teams, as the Heat could find themselves 1 win away from the NBA Finals by the end of today. Taking a look at what's going on with the Stanley Cup playoffs, there were 3 games yesterday. The first Eastern Conference matchup would take place in Tampa Bay, as the defending back-to-back Stanley Cup champs Tampa Bay Lightning hosted the Atlantic Division champs, the Florida Panthers. The Lightning will come into this matchup leading the series 2-0 after they beat the Panthers in both of the games in Sunrise. In Game 3, the Lightning would beat the Panthers 5-1. This would be after they scored the first goal of the game. Florida's lone goal would be to tie Tampa Bay at the end of the first, and then starting from the second, the Lightning would score 4 unanswered, starting with Eric Cernak's goal. The top star of this matchup went to Tampa Bay's goalie Andrei Vasilevsky. He finished with 34 saves, only allowing 1 goal on the night from the Florida Panthers, the team who finished with the best record in the Eastern Conference. And I believe they finished with the best record in the NHL this season, so of course, notable performance from him. The second star of the game went to Tampa Bay's right winger Nikita Kucherov, as he had a goal and a trio of assists. The third star of the game went to Tampa Bay's defender Ryan McDonough, as he finished with an assist on the night. With this win, the Tampa Bay Lightning, the 3 seed in the Atlantic Division, now hold a 3-0 series lead over the Florida Panthers. With 1 more win, they do advance to the Eastern Conference Finals to get a chance to play against either the Hurricanes or the Rangers. I'll get into that matchup in a second. But with this loss, the Florida Panthers have to win the next 4 games, as Game 4 is scheduled for tonight in Tampa Bay, just to get a sense of how intense that matchup is going to be. They're going to run it back-to-back nights for playoff games. But with that said, taking a look at the second Eastern Conference matchup to see who they're going to face. In the Metropolitan Division, the 2-seed New York Rangers went on to host the top seed Carolina Hurricanes. This came after Carolina came into this matchup with a 2-0 series lead. After Carolina won both games in Raleigh, the New York Rangers would win Game 3 3-1 to win their first game of the series. They would go on to score the first 2 goals of this matchup, not even giving Carolina a chance for the lead. The top star in this game went to New York's goalie Igor Shesterkin, as he finished with 43 saves, only allowing 1 goal on the night. New York's center Mika Zibanejad would finish with a goal and an assist, and then their left winger Chris Kreider would finish with a goal. As Kreider finished with the 3rd star, Zibanejad finished with the 2nd star of the night. With this win, the New York Rangers now hold they are now trailing Carolina 2-1 after Carolina had won the first 2 games. Game 4 is in New York, scheduled for tomorrow on ESPN, as New York will get a chance to even up the series. A win from Carolina in this next game will put them a win away, but right now, neither team is facing elimination. The Rangers have to win 3 of their next 4 games. Carolina has to win 2 of their next 4. The winner of this matchup faces off against the winner of the Lightning and the Panthers. Like I said earlier, the Lightning hold a 3-0 series lead there. And then, of course, taking a look at the third and final game that took place yesterday in the Pacific Divisional Final, the 2-seed Edmonton Oilers hosted the 1-seed Calgary Flames. Coming into this matchup, the series was tied at 1 after the Flames would only win one game at home, and then the Oilers would win game 2. The Oilers would win game 3. They would win it 4-1 in front of their hometown fans, as this would be the opportunity that they would seize this moment over the Calgary Flames from not that far away. So taking a look at how the scoring in this matchup, of course, would go. All 4 of Edmonton's goals would be scored in the second period, as they would see a hat trick of goals from Evander Kane within a 6-minute stretch. The top star of this game was Evander Kane, as Edmonton's left winger had 3 goals. Edmonton's center, Leandre Sadel, would finish with the second star of the game, as he had 4 assists. Edmonton's center, Connor McDavid, finished with 3 assists on the night. As with this win, Edmonton now holds a 2-1 series lead. They have to win 2 of their next 4 games if they want to advance to the Western Conference Finals to face off against either the Colorado Avalanche or the St. Louis Blues. But, of course, with this win, they are now 1 game closer. Calgary has to win 3 of the next 4 games if they want to make it through. But right now, neither team is facing elimination, but this is a very big win for Edmonton. Those were the 3 matchups that took place yesterday. Taking a look at what is going on today within Stanley Cup hockey. At 7 o'clock on TNT in Amalie Arena, the defending back-to-back Stanley Cup champs, Tampa Bay Lightning, the 3 seed in the Atlantic Division, have a chance to sweep the top seed in that division, the Florida Panthers, as they currently lead this series 3-0. After they won by 3 goals in Game 1 and Game 1 and Game 2, as both those games were in Sunrise. They won Game 3 yesterday in Tampa Bay, so this is their chance to, of course, go for the sweep. Florida has to win their next 4 games if they want to remain in this tournament. The winner of this faces off against Carolina in New York. By the end of today, there very well could be 7 teams left in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Taking a look at what's going on after that at 9:30 on TNT and Enterprise Center in St. Louis, the St. Louis Blues, the 3 seed in the Central Division, are set to host the top seed in the Central Division, the Colorado Avalanche. Right now, the Avalanche are leading this series 2-1. This is coming after Avalanche would break the 1-1 series tie in Game 3 in St. Louis by 3 goals the other day. 1 win here from Colorado would put them 1 win away from the Western Conference Finals, and the Blues have to win 3 of their next 4 games. The winner of this series faces off against Edmonton and Calgary, as Edmonton leads that series 2-1 at the moment. But that is what Stanley Cup playoffs is looking like as of now, as there are 8 teams left, and by the end of today, there could be 7. Taking a look at what's going on in the MLB, starting off in Pittsburgh, the Pirates would go on to host the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Pirates would go on to pick up the Cardinals pick up an 18-4 win in Pittsburgh, as they would go on to score 7 runs in the first couple innings. They would go on to score all 18 of their runs before the Pirates scored all 4 of their runs in the bottom of the 9th, actually. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Pittsburgh Pirates saw the loss go to their starting pitcher, Bryce Wilson. Wilson allowed 7 earned runs off of 6 hits in 1.2 innings pitched. He would strike out 2 batters and walk 2. With this loss, he's 0-3. In the Pirates batting lineup, there's first baseman Michael Chavis went 2 for 5, as he was the only Pirate with more than 1 hit. On the winning end of this matchup, the St. Louis Cardinals would see the start go to Steven Matz. Steven Matz would allow no earned run. He would get the start, but he wouldn't get the first out. The win would go to the Cardinals' first relief pitcher on the day, as the win was given to their youngin and Angel Rondon. Rondon would allow no earned runs and only 1 hit in 5 innings pitched. He would strike out 4 batters and walk 3. With this win, he's now 1-0. And, of course, Molina would pitch the last inning of the game, allowing 4 earned runs off of 4 hits, allowing 2 home runs. In the Cardinals batting lineup, their shortstop, Tommy Edman, went 3 for 6 with 2 RBIs and 3 runs. Their second baseman in this matchup, Nolan Gorman would go 3 for 5 with an RBI and 3 runs. Their future Hall of Fame pinch hitting designated hitter Albert Pujols would end up going 2 for 3 with 4 RBIs and 2 runs as he hit his third and fourth home runs of the season. Their right fielder in this matchup, Brendan Donovan, would end up going 3 for 6 with 2 RBIs and a run. Their third baseman, Edmundo Sosa, went 2 for 5 with an RBI and 2 runs. Their catcher, Andrew Knizer, would end up going 2 for 5 with an RBI and a run. Their center fielder, Harrison Bader, would go 2 for 5 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs. He hit his fourth home run of the season. With this win, the St. Louis Cardinals are 23-18. That is the second best record in the National League Central. They are now holding, or at this moment, the St. Louis Cardinals have won their last 3 games. That is the second longest active winning streak in the National League, as only the San Diego Padres have a longer active winning streak in the National League. The Cardinals have won 6 of their last 10 games. They are sitting 3 games behind the NL Central leading Milwaukee Brewers. With this loss, the Pittsburgh Pirates are 16-24. They are tied with the Chicago Cubs for the third best record in the National League Central. The Pirates have now lost their last 3 games. They are tied with only the San Francisco Giants have a longer losing streak in the National League. The Pirates have now lost 7 of their last 10 games. They are sitting 9.5 games behind the division-leading Milwaukee Brewers. Taking a look now at what is going on in Boston, and looking at the first game that would go to extra innings, the Boston Red Sox would host the Seattle Mariners. And in this particular matchup, the Red Sox would go on to win it 8-4, as this game would be won off of a walk-off grand slam in the bottom of the 10th. As going into the 10th inning, the score was tied at 3. The Mariners would go up 4-3 with an Adam Frazier single. In the bottom of the 10th, Kike Hernandez's RBI single would tie the game up at 4. It will be a walk-off grand slam from Franchy Cordero to give the Red Sox their 19th of the season. Taking a look at how the Mariners fared on the losing end of this matchup, within this particular matchup. On the losing end of this matchup, the Seattle Mariners were led out by their starting pitcher, Logan Gilbert. Logan Gilbert would go on to allow 3 earned runs off of 5 hits in 7 innings pitched. He struck out 4 batters and walked 2. The loss would go to the Mariners' closer for the day, Andres Munoz. Munoz would allow 5 runs off of 4 hits, as he would not even make it to the 10th inning. He would walk a batter, and he would pick up his second blown save of the season. With this loss, Munoz is 1-2 on the year. In the Mariners' batting lineup, their second baseman, Adam Frazier, went 3 for 5 with 3 RBIs and a run. He hit his second home run of the season. Their first baseman, Ty France, went 2 for 5. And then their elite third baseman, Eugenio Suarez, would go 1 for 4 with an RBI and a run. He hit his 8th home run of the season. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Boston Red Sox saw the start go to Nathan Eovaldi. Eovaldi would allow 2 earned runs off of 4 hits in the 6.2 innings he pitched. He would strike out 11, and he would walk 1 on the day. The win would go to the Red Sox closer in this matchup, Jake Diekman. He would allow 1 run off of 2 hits in the 10th inning as he struck out 2 batters. With this win, he's now 1-0. In the Red Sox batting lineup, their center fielder, Kike Hernandez, went 2 for 5 with an RBI and a run. And in this matchup, their elite second baseman, Trevor Story, went 1 for 4 with an RBI and a run. He hit his 7th home run of the season. Their right fielder, Jackie Bradley Jr., ended up going 2 for 4. With this win, the Boston Red Sox are now 19-22. That is the 4th best record in the American League East. They have now won their last 5 games. Their 5-game winning streak is the longest active winning streak in the American League. It is the longest active winning streak in the majors as well. The Red Sox have now won 8 of their last 10 games. They are still sitting 10 games behind the division-leading New York Yankees at this moment. With this loss, the Seattle Mariners are 17-25. That is the 4th best record in the American League West. They have now lost their last 4 games. They are tied with the Kansas City Royals for the longest active losing streak in the American League. They are also tied with the San Francisco Giants for the longest active losing streak in the majors. The Mariners have now lost 7 of their last 10 games. They are sitting 10 games behind the AL West leading Houston Astros. Taking a look at what happened in Baltimore and looking at another game that went to extra innings, the Orioles would host the Tampa Bay Rays. And going into extra innings, the score would be tied at 6 after the Orioles scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th. It will be a Rougned Odor RBI fielder's choice, bringing Adley Rutschman to the plate to give the Orioles their 17th win of the year. On the losing end of this matchup, the Tampa Bay Rays were led out by former Cy Young winner Corey Kluber. He would allow 2 earned runs off of 5 hits in 3 innings pitched. He would strike out 2 batters and walk 2. The loss would end up going to the Rays closer for the day, Dustin Knight. Knight would allow 1 run in as he would pitch 1.1 innings. He would pitch through the 10th and he would not make it through the 11th. He would strike out a batter and walk 1. With this loss, he's 0-1. In the Rays batting lineup, their center fielder Kevin Kiermaier went 2 for 6 with an RBI and 2 runs. Their elite left fielder and reigning American League Rookie of the Year, Randy Arozarena, went 2 for 5 with an RBI. Their first baseman Ji-Man Choi went 3 for 5 with an RBI and a run. Their right fielder Brett Phillips would end up going 3 for 3 with a run. And then on the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Baltimore Orioles saw the start go to Spencer Watkins. He would allow 3 earned runs off of 3 hits as he wouldn't even register an out in the first inning. The win, however, would go to the Orioles closer for the day, Cionel Perez. Perez would allow no earned runs and only 1 hit as he pitched the 10th and 11th innings. He would strike out 3 batters and walk 2. With this win, he's now 2-0. In the Orioles batting lineup, their right fielder Ryan Mountcastle went 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. He would hit his 5th home run of the season. Their third baseman Ramon Urias went 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. Their shortstop Rougned Odor would end up going 2 for 6 with 2 RBIs. With this win, the Baltimore Orioles are 17-25. That is the worst record in the American League East. They have now won 3 of their last 10 games. They are sitting 12.5 games behind the AL East leading New York Yankees, who also lead the entire American League. With this loss, the Tampa Bay Rays are 24-17. That is the second best record in the AL East as they've lost 4 of their last 10 games. They are sitting 5 games behind the division and league leading New York Yankees. Taking a look at what happened in Philadelphia, the Phillies hosted the Dodgers, and that's a game that went to extra innings as well. The Phillies would go on to beat the Dodgers 4-3. However, after the Dodgers would go on to take an early lead, the Phillies would go on to force it into extra innings. Thanks to a Gene Segura RBI single in the bottom of the 9th to tie the game at 2. In the top of the 10th, Trey Turner's RBI single would put the Dodgers up by 1, with an Alec Boehm reaching on a fielding error in the 10th would bring Garrett Stubbs and Roman Quinn to the plate as the Phillies would score off of some chaos. And with this loss, I guess looking at how the Dodgers fared on the losing end, they were led out by Tony Gonsolin. Gonsolin allowed 1 earned run off of 3 hits in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 7 batters and walked 1. The loss would end up going to the Dodgers closer for the day, Evan Phillips. Phillips allowed 2 runs off of 2 hits as he would not even make it through the 10th as he would strike out a batter. He picked up his second blown save of the season, and with this loss, he's 1-2. In the Dodgers batting lineup, their elite shortstop, Trey Turner, went 3 for 5 with an RBI. He was the only Dodger with a multi-hit game. Their elite right fielder, Mookie Betts, went 1 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs as he would hit his 10th home run of the season last night. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Philadelphia Phillies saw the start go to Zac Eflin. Eflin would allow 2 earned runs off of 4 hits in the 7 innings he pitched. He struck out 12 batters and walked 2. The win for the Phillies would go to their closer, Corey Knebel. This would be his first of the year. He would allow 1 run off of 1 hit in the 10th inning as he would strike out a batter and walk 2. With this win, he's now 1-3. In the Phillies batting lineup, their elite right fielder, Nick Castellanos, went 2 for 4 with a run. Their catcher in this matchup, Garrett Stubbs, would end up going 2 for 2 with an RBI and 2 runs. He had his first home run of the season. With this win, the Philadelphia Phillies are 19-22. That is the third best record, or I guess they are tied with the defending World Series champs Atlanta Braves for the second best record in the National League East. They've now won 5 of their last 10 games. They now sit 8 games behind the division-leading New York Mets. With this loss, the LA Dodgers are 27-13. That is the best record in the National League West and the best record in the National League win percentage-wise. The only team with a better record than the Dodgers right now is the Yankees, as the Dodgers have now lost 3 of their last 10. The Dodgers are sitting half a game ahead of the second-place San Diego Padres, as the Dodgers only have 1 less loss than the Padres as of right now. And taking a look at what happened north of the border in Toronto, the Blue Jays hosted the Cincinnati Reds. The Reds would end up beating the Blue Jays 3-2. After the Blue Jays tied the game at 2 in the bottom of the third, the Reds would break the tie in the top of the 8th off of a home run from Joey Votto, his first of the season, to give them their 12th win in 40 games. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Blue Jays would be led up by their starting pitcher, Yusei Kikuchi. Kikuchi would allow 2 earned runs off of 2 hits in 4.1 innings pitched. He would strike out 7 batters and walk 3. The loss would end up going to Toronto's 4th relief pitcher on the day. Yimi Garcia will go on to allow 1 earned run off of 3 hits, as he would pitch an entire inning. And he would strike out a batter, as with this loss, he's now 0-3. In the Blue Jays batting lineup, nobody in their batting lineup would finish with more than 1 hit on the day. That would be attributed to great pitching from the Reds. On the winning end of this matchup, the Reds would see the start go to Graham Ashcraft. Graham Ashcraft would allow 2 earned runs off of 4 hits in 4.1 innings pitched. He struck out 3 batters and walked 2. The win would go to the Reds setup relief pitcher Alexis Diaz. Diaz would allow no earned runs and no hits as he pitched the 7th and 8th innings for the team. He would strike out 3 batters, and with this win, he's now 2-0. In these, or I guess picking up the save for the Reds was their closer for the day, Art Warren. Art Warren would allow no earned runs and no hits in the 9th inning as he struck out a batter. This would be his 2nd save of the year. In the Reds batting lineup, their center fielder Aristides Aquino would end up going 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. He would be the only player with a multi-hit game. And with this win, the Cincinnati Reds are 12-28. That is the worst record in the National League Central, and it is still the worst record in the MLB, as so far they are the only team who has not won more than 30% of their games so far. They've now won 6 of their last 10 games, as they now sit 13.5 games behind the division-leading Milwaukee Brewers. With this loss, the Toronto Blue Jays are 22-19. That is the 3rd best record in the American League East, as they've now lost 5 of their last 10. They are sitting 7 games behind the division-leading New York Yankees at this moment. Taking a look at what happened in Cleveland, the Guardians hosted the Detroit Tigers. The Tigers would end up beating the Guardians 4-2. After the Guardians tied the game up at 2 in the bottom of the 4th, the Tigers would take the lead right back in the top of the 5th off of a fielding error reached by Robbie Grossman. That would bring Tucker Barnhart home. But the Tigers would go on to win it 4-2 to pick up their 14th win of the year. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Cleveland Guardians will see the loss go to their elite starting pitcher Shane Bieber. Bieber allowed 3 runs off of 6 hits in 7 innings pitched. He would strike out 10 batters and walk 2. With this loss, Shane Bieber is 1-3 on the year. In the Guardians batting lineup, their second baseman Owen Miller would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI, as he was the only Guardian with more than 1 hit. On the winning end of this matchup, the Detroit Tigers would see the win go to their starting pitcher, Alex Faedo. Faedo would allow 2 earned runs off of 6 hits in the 5.1 innings he pitched. He would strike out 2 batters and walk 2. With this win, he's now 1-1. The save would now go to the Tigers closer, Gregory Soto. Soto allowed no earned runs and no hits in the 9th inning, and with this save, he now has 7 on the year. In the Tigers batting lineup, their only player with more than 1 hit was their center fielder, Daz Cameron. Cameron would end up going 2 for 3 with an RBI. Their elite shortstop, Javier Baez, went 1 for 4 with an RBI and a run, as he hit his 3rd home run of the season in the 8th inning. With this win, the Detroit Tigers are now 14-26. That is the fourth best record in the American League Central. They're actually tied with the Kansas City Royals for the worst record in their division. The Tigers have now won 5 of their last 10 games. They are sitting 10.5 games behind the division-leading Minnesota Twins. With this loss, the Cleveland Guardians are 17-20. That is the third best record in the AL Central. They've lost 6 of their last 10. They are sitting 6 games behind the division-leading Twins at this moment. Taking a look now at what happened in Miami, the Marlins hosted the defending World Series champs Atlanta Braves, and the Marlins would pick up a 4-3 win, breaking the 1-1 tie in the 6th and 7th innings. Off of a bunch of RBI, off of single scoring plays that would, of course, give them the lead that the Braves would not come back from. The Marlins would win 4-3, as the Marlins and Braves are only separated by half a game. On the losing end of this matchup, the Atlanta Braves will see the loss go to their starting pitcher, Ian Anderson. Ian Anderson would allow 4 earned runs off of 7 hits and 6 innings pitched. He would strike out 6 batters and walk 2. With this loss, he's 3-3, and in the Braves batting lineup, their elite designated hitter, Ronald Acuna Jr., would be the only player on the team with more than 1 hit, as he went 2 for 4. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Miami Marlins would see the complete game win go to their starting pitcher, Sandy Alcantara. Alcantara would allow 3 runs off of 6 hits in the 9 innings he pitched. He would strike out 7 batters and then walk 2, and with this win, he's now 4-2. In the Marlins batting lineup, their first baseman, Jesus Aguilar, would go 2 for 4. Their third baseman, Brian Anderson, would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI. And then their catcher, Jacob Stallings, would end up going 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run as well. With this win, the Miami Marlins are now 18-22. That is the 4th best record in the National League East. They've won 5 of their last 10. They are sitting 8.5 games behind the division-leading New York Mets. With this loss, the defending World Series champs Atlanta Braves are now 19-22. They are tied with the Philadelphia Phillies for the second best record in the National League East. The Braves have lost 5 of their last 10 games, and they now sit 8 games behind the division-leading New York Mets. Taking a look at what is going down in Houston, the Astros hosted the Texas Rangers from within their own state. The Astros would go on to beat the Rangers 5-2. After the Astros would score the first 2 runs of the game, the Rangers just wouldn't get a chance to take a lead. As on the losing end of this matchup, the Rangers would see the loss go to their starting pitcher, Taylor Hearn. Taylor Hearn would allow 4 earned runs off of 6 hits and 4.2 innings pitched. He struck out 2 batters and walked 2. With this loss, he's 2-3. In the Rangers batting lineup, their catcher, Sam Huff, would end up with 2 hits on the day. He went 2 for 4. And then their third baseman, Brad Miller, would end up going 3 for 4 with an RBI. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Houston Astros would see the win go to their starting pitcher, Jose Urquidy. Jose Urquidy would allow 1 earned run off of 6 hits and 6.2 innings pitched. He would strike out 10 batters and walk 1. With this win, he's now 4-1, and then the save would end up going to the Astros closer for the day, Ryan Presley. Ryan Presley would allow no earned runs off of 2 hits, as he would go on to finish off the 9th inning. He pitched 0.2 innings. He would go on to pick up his 6th save of the year. In the Astros batting lineup, their elite second baseman, Jose Altuve, would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. He would hit his 5th double of the season and his 9th home run. And then the Astros shortstop in this matchup, Jeremy Pena, would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI. With this win, the hometown Houston Astros are now 27-15. That is the best record in the American League West, as they've now won their last 2 games and they've won 6 of their last 10. They are sitting a game and a half ahead of the second place Los Angeles Angels within their division. They are holding the second best record in the American League record-wise to the New York Yankees. And with this loss, the Texas Rangers are now 18-22. That is the third best record in the American League West. They've now lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 5 of their last 10. They are sitting 8 games behind the division-leading Houston Astros. Now taking a look at what happened in Kansas City, the Royals hosted the Minnesota Twins. The Twins would end up beating the Royals 7-6, as the Royals would end up scoring the first 6 runs of the game. The Twins would end up taking the lead in the top of the 9th. They would tie it up with a Gary Sanchez sac fly to, of course, make it 6 unanswered runs, but then it would be a Gio Urshela RBI single that would give the Twins the edge and eventually the run they needed to pull off the 6-run comeback in Kansas City. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Royals were led out by their starting pitcher, Brady Singer. Singer allowed no earned runs off of 4 hits in the 7 innings he pitched. He would strike out 3 batters and even walk 3. The loss would go to the Royals' setup relief pitcher on the day, Josh Staumont. Staumont would allow 2 earned runs off of 2 hits as he would go on to pitch 1 inning pitched. He would strike out 2 batters and walk 2. We would pick up his 3rd blown save of the year, and with this loss, he's 1-1. In the Royals batting lineup, their left fielder, Andrew Benintendi, would go 3 for 4 with an RBI and a run. He was the only player with a multi-hit game for the Royals. On the winning end of this matchup, the Minnesota Twins were led out by Bailey Ober. Their starting pitcher would allow 1 earned run off of 3 hits and 5 innings pitched. He would strike out 4 batters and walk 1. The win would go to the Twins setup relief pitcher Tyler Duffy. Tyler Duffy would allow no earned runs off of no hits as he pitched the entire 8th. With this win, he's now 2-2. The save would end up going to the Twins closer, Jhoan Duran. Jhoan Duran would allow no earned runs off of no hits as he would pitch the 9th inning. He would strike out 2 batters. He picked up his 3rd save of the year. In the Twins batting lineup, their first baseman, Luis Arraez, would go 3 for 5 with a run. Their second baseman, Jorge Polanco, went 2 for 3 with an RBI and 2 runs. Their right fielder, Max Kepler, went 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. The Twins' shortstop in this matchup, Nick Gordon, would end up going 2 for 4. And with this win, the Minnesota Twins are 25-16. That is the best record in the American League Central. They have now won their last 4 games. They are holding the 2nd longest active winning streak in the American League, as the Red Sox have a 5-game winning streak. The Twins have now won 7 of their last 10 games. They are now sitting 4 games ahead of the second-place Chicago White Sox in their division. With this loss, the Kansas City Royals are now 14-26. They are tied with the Detroit Tigers for the worst record in the AL Central Division, and they are now holding a 4-game losing streak. They are tied with the Seattle Mariners and the San Francisco Giants for the longest active losing streak in the major leagues right now. The Royals have now lost 7 of their last 10 games. And alongside the Tigers, they are sitting 10.5 games behind the division-leading Minnesota Twins. Taking a look at what happened in Milwaukee, the Brewers hosted the Washington Nationals. The Nationals would end up beating the defending NL Central champs 8-2 after scoring 8 runs in the 2nd through 4th innings, scoring 6 runs in the 4th inning. That would end up being the difference in this particular matchup. Taking a look at how the hometown Brewers fared in this matchup on the losing end, the loss went to their starting pitcher, Freddie Peralta. Peralta allowed 5 earned runs off of 6 hits in the 3 innings he pitched. He would strike out 2 batters and walk 1. With this loss, Peralta is 3-2. In the Brewers batting lineup, their center fielder, Tyrone Taylor, would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run as he had his 3rd home run of the season. The win would end up going to the National starting pitcher, Aaron Sanchez. Sanchez would allow 2 earned runs off of 7 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He would strike out a batter and he would walk 2. With this win, Aaron Sanchez is 3-3. In the Nats batting lineup, their second baseman, Cesar Hernandez, went 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. Their elite designated hitter, Nelson Cruz, went 2 for 3 with an RBI. Not to mention that their left fielder, Yadiel Hernandez, went 2 for 4 with a run. Their third baseman, Michael Franco, went 2 for 4 with 2 runs. Their center fielder, Lane Thomas, went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. With this win, the Washington Nationals are now 14-28. That is the worst record in the National League East. It is the 2nd worst record in the National League, as only the Reds have a worse record in the NL. The Nats have won 3 of their last 10 games, and they now sit 13.5 games behind the NL East leading New York Mets at this moment. With this loss, the Milwaukee Brewers are 26-15. That is still the best record in the National League Central. They've only lost 4 of their last 10 games. They are sitting 3 games ahead of the second place St. Louis Cardinals, and as of right now, they are holding on to the 4th best record in the National League, behind the Mets, the Dodgers, and the Padres at this moment. And taking a look at what happened in Chicago, the Cubs hosted the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Cubs would end up beating the Diamondbacks 5-4 after the Diamondbacks would take the lead off. They would take a 4-3 lead in the 7th inning. The Cubs would end up they would tie the game in the bottom of the 8th off of a solo home run from Patrick Wisdom, and then it would be a solo home run from Frank Schwindel to give the Cubs the 1-run lead. On the losing end of this matchup, the Arizona Diamondbacks would see the start go to Merrill Kelly. Kelly allowed 3 earned runs off of 5 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He would strike out 2 batters and walk 3. The loss would go to Arizona setup relief pitcher Ian Kennedy. Kennedy would allow 2 earned runs off of 3 hits as he would not register an out. He picked up his second blown save of the year, and with this loss, he's 3-3. In the Diamondbacks batting lineup, their second baseman, Ketel Marte, went 2-for-4 with an RBI and a run. Their first baseman, Pavin Smith, went 2-for-4 with an RBI. And on the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Chicago Cubs would see the start go to Wade Miley. Wade Miley would allow 3 earned runs off of 6 hits and 6 innings pitched as he struck out 3 and walked 2. The win would end up going to the Cubs' lone relief pitcher of this game, Keegan Thompson. He would allow 1 earned run off of 2 hits as he pitched the last 3 innings of this game. He would strike out 4 batters, and with this win, Thompson is now 4-0 for the Cubs. In the Cubs batting lineup, their left fielder, Ian Happ, went 2-for-4 with a run. Their third baseman, Patrick Wisdom, went 2-for-3 with an RBI and 2 runs as Wisdom hit his 9th home run of the year. With this win, the Chicago Cubs are now 16-24. They are tied with the Pittsburgh Pirates for the 3rd best record in the National League Central. The Cubs have won 5 of their last 10 games. They are sitting 9.5 games behind the division-leading Milwaukee Brewers. With this loss, the Arizona Diamondbacks are 21-22. That is the 4th best record in the National League West. They've now lost 7 of their last 10 games. They are sitting 7.5 games behind the division-leading LA Dodgers at this moment. Taking a look at what happened in the Bronx, the New York Yankees hosted the defending AL Central champs Chicago White Sox, and the White Sox would beat the Yankees 3-1 after scoring 2 runs in the 9th inning to at least hit 500 for the year. They would take the lead off of an A.J. Pollock solo home run, and then Adam Engel's double would give them their 3rd goal of the game, so they would go up and win 3-1. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown New York Yankees saw the start go to Jameson Taillon. Taillon allowed 1 earned run off of 5 hits and 7 innings pitched. He would strike out 7 batters and walk 1. The loss would go to the Yankees setup relief pitcher Aroldis Chapman. He allowed 2 earned runs off of 2 hits as he would start the 9th inning but not finish it. With this loss, he's 0-2. In the Yankees batting lineup, their elite designated hitter Aaron Judge went 3-for-4 with an RBI and a run. He had his 15th home run of the season. Their center fielder Aaron Hicks went 2-for-4. And with this win, the Chicago White Sox saw the start go to Johnny Cueto. He allowed no earned runs, and he would allow 6 hits in 6 innings pitched. He would strike out 5 batters and walk 2. The win would go to the White Sox setup relief pitcher Kendall Graveman. Graveman would allow no earned runs and only 2 hits in the 8th inning as he would walk a batter. He would pick up his 3rd blown save of the year, and with this win, he's now 1-1. The save would go to the White Sox elite closer Liam Hendriks. Hendriks allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out 2 batters. He picked up his 13th save of the year. In the White Sox batting lineup, their left fielder, A.J. Pollock, went 2-for-4 with an RBI and a run. He hit his 2nd home run of the season. And then the White Sox right fielder, Adam Engel, would end up going 2-for-4 with an RBI. With this win, the Chicago White Sox are now 20-20. That is currently the second. I guess they would go on and carry this momentum into the second game of this doubleheader, where they would beat the Yankees and shut them out 5-0, holding the Yankees 5-0 in Game 2. They scored all 5 of their runs in the 8th inning, as the last 3 were scored off of a 3-run home run from Tim Anderson. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown New York Yankees would see the start go to Luis Severino. Severino allowed no earned runs and 8 hits off of 7. He would do all this in 7 innings pitched. He would strike out 5 batters. The loss for the Yankees would end up going to their first relief pitcher, Jonathan Loaisiga. Loaisiga would allow 4 earned runs off of 4 hits as he pitched .2 innings. He would strike out a batter, and with his loss, he's 0-2. In the Yankees batting lineup, nobody on their team would finish with more than 1 hit in Game 2. And on the winning end of this matchup, the White Sox will see the win go to Michael Kopeck, their starter. Michael Kopeck would allow no earned runs and only 1 hit in the 7 innings he pitched. He would strike out 6 batters and then walk 2. With his win, Kopeck is 1-1. In the White Sox batting lineup for Game 2, their elite shortstop Tim Anderson went 3 for 5 with 3 RBIs and a run. He would go on to finish with he hit his 5th home run of the season yesterday. Their elite first baseman Jose Abreu went 2 for 4 with a run. Their right fielder Gavin Sheets went 2 for 4. Then their left fielder, Andrew Vaughn, will go 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run. Not to mention Chicago's catcher, Reese McGuire, would end up going 3 for 4 with an RBI and a run. With this win, the Chicago White Sox are 21-20. That is the second best record in the American League Central. They have now won their last 2 games. Of course, their winning streak coming from yesterday. They've won 6 of their last 10. They are sitting 4 games behind the AL Central leading Minnesota Twins. With this 2-game losing streak, the New York Yankees are still holding the best record in the AL East and the American League. They are still the only team in the MLB who's won at least 70% of their games. They're holding the best record in baseball, following a 2-game losing streak. They are sitting 5 games ahead of the second-place Tampa Bay Rays within their division. Taking a look at what happened in Denver, the Rockies went on to host the New York Mets, and the Mets would end up beating the Rockies 2-0, shutting the Rockies out, holding them to 6 hits all game. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Rockies would see the loss go to their starting pitcher, Austin Gomber. Gomber would allow 2 earned runs off of 7 hits in 7 innings pitched. He would strike out 2 batters. With this loss, he's now 2-4. In the Rockies batting lineup, their second baseman, Brendan Rodgers, went 2 for 4. He was the only player on the team with a multi-hit game. On the winning end of this matchup, the New York Mets would see the win go to their starting pitcher, Taijuan Walker. Walker would allow no earned runs off of 5 hits in 7 innings pitched. He would strike out 6 batters and walk 2. With this win, he's now 2-0. The save would go to the Mets closer, Edwin Diaz. Diaz would allow no earned runs and only 1 hit in the 9th inning as he struck out 2. He picked up his 10th save of the year. In the Mets batting lineup, their elite shortstop Francisco Lindor went 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. Their third baseman Luis Guillorme went 2 for 3. And with this win, the New York Mets are 28-15, holding the best record in the National League East. They are holding the 3rd best record in the National League win percentage-wise. They've won 6 of their last 10 games. They are sitting 8 games ahead of the defending World Series champs Atlanta Braves and the Philadelphia Phillies, who are tied for the 2nd best record in their division. With this loss, the Colorado Rockies are 19-21. That is the worst record in the National League West. They've now lost 7 of their last 10 games. They sit 8 games behind the division-leading LA Dodgers at this point in the year. And taking a look at what happened in the Bay Area, the San Francisco Giants hosted the San Diego Padres. The Padres would end up beating the Giants 10-1 after scoring the first 7 runs of this matchup. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Giants would see the loss go to their starting pitcher, Alex Wood. Wood allowed 5 earned runs off of 8 hits in 3 innings pitched. He would strike out 4 batters and walk 2. With this loss, he's 3-3. In the Giants batting lineup, nobody on their team finished with more than 1 hit. On the winning end of this matchup, the San Diego Padres saw the win go to their young pitcher, Mackenzie Gore. Mackenzie Gore would allow 1 earned run off of 3 hits in 6 innings pitched. He would strike out 6 batters and walk 2. And with his win, he's now 3-1. In the Padres batting lineup, their second baseman, Jake Cronenworth, went 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a run. Their elite third baseman, Manny Machado, would end up going 4 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 3 runs. He would go on to hit 3 doubles yesterday, and he hit his first triple of the year. The Padres left fielder, Jurickson Profar, went 2 for 6 with an RBI. Their right fielder, Will Myers, went 3 for 5 with 3 RBIs and a run. And then their shortstop, Ha-Sung Kim, went 2 for 5 with an RBI and a run. With this win, the San Diego Padres are 27-14. That is the second best record in the National League West. They've now won their last 4 games. Their 4-game winning streak is the longest active winning streak in the National League. And right now, only the Boston Red Sox have a longer active winning streak than the San Diego Padres in the MLB. The Padres have won 7 of their last 10. They are sitting half a game behind the division-leading LA Dodgers at this moment. With this loss, the San Francisco Giants are now 22-18. That is the third best record in the NL West, as they've now lost their last 4 games. The Giants are now holding on to the longest active losing streak in the National League. They are tied with the Kansas City Royals and the Seattle Mariners for the longest active losing streak in baseball right now. The Giants have lost 6 of their last 10. They are sitting 5 games behind the division-leading LA Dodgers. Taking a look at what is going on in Anaheim, last but not least, not that far from Disneyland, the LA Angels host the Oakland Athletics. The Angels would end up beating the Athletics 4-1. On the losing end of this matchup, the Athletics would see their starting pitcher, Cole Irvin, pick up his second loss. Irvin would allow 3 runs off of 8 hits and 6 innings pitched. He struck out 4 batters and walked 2. With this loss, he's 2-2. In the Athletics batting lineup, their third baseman, Kevin Smith, was the only player with a multi-hit game. He went 2 for 3 with a run. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Angels would see the win go to their starting pitcher, Patrick Sandoval. Sandoval would allow 1 earned run off of 4 hits in the 7.1 innings pitched. He would strike out 7 batters and walk 1. The save would end up going to the Angels' closer, Raisel Iglesias. Iglesias would allow no earned runs and no hits in the 9th inning, as he would strike out 3. He would pick up his 10th save of the year. In the Angels batting lineup, their elite designated hitter and reigning American League MVP, Shohei Ohtani, went 2 for 5 with an RBI and a run, as he hit his 9th home run of the season. Their goated center fielder, Mike Trout, would go 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs, as their multiple-time MVP would hit his 12th home run of the season. With this win, the LA Angels are now 26-17. That is the second best record in the American League West, as they've now won their last 2 games, and they've won 5 of their last 10. They are now sitting a game and a half behind the division-leading Houston Astros. With this loss, the Oakland Athletics are now 17-26. That is the worst record in the AL West. They've now lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 7 of their last 10. They are now sitting 10.5 games behind the division-leading Houston Astros. So that is currently where the Athletics are at this very moment. So that is what the MLB is looking like following yesterday's matchups, and taking a look at what the MLB looks like today. Today is Monday, so the games are going to start later today, and there are going to be no primetime games. Starting at 6:35, the Pittsburgh Pirates are set to host the Colorado Rockies in PNC Park. At 6:40, the Cincinnati Reds, holding the worst record in baseball, are set to host the Chicago Cubs from their own division. At 7:05, the New York Yankees, who hold the best record in baseball, are set to host the Baltimore Orioles, as Garrett Cole is set to make his start. Garrett Cole enters his matchup with a 4-0 record, holding a 2.89 ERA. At 7:05, the Washington Nationals are set to host the LA Dodgers. At 7:20, the defending World Series champs Atlanta Braves are set to host the Philadelphia Phillies. Zach Wheeler is going to lead out for the Phillies today, as he comes in with a 2-3 record, holding a 3.49 ERA. At 7:40, the Minnesota Twins, holding the best record in the AL Central, are set to host the Detroit Tigers on Target Field in Minneapolis. At 7:45, Miles Mikolas and the St. Louis Cardinals are ready to host the Toronto Blue Jays. Mikolas enters his matchup with a 3-2 record, holding a 1.68 ERA. At 8:10 in Minute Maid Park, Luis Garcia and the Houston Astros are set to host the Cleveland Guardians. Garcia enters his matchup with a 3-2 record, holding a 3.35 ERA. At 9:40 on Chase Field, the Arizona Diamondbacks are ready to host the Kansas City Royals. At 9:40, the San Diego Padres are set to host the Milwaukee Brewers. The Brewers today are going to be led out by Adrian Hauser. Adrian Hauser will go on to enter this matchup with a 3-4 record, and he would also enter this matchup holding a 3.22 ERA. At the same time, at 9:40, Marco Gonzalez and the Seattle Mariners are set to host the Oakland Athletics. Gonzalez enters his matchup with a 2-4 record, holding a 3.08 ERA. And the last game that's starting tonight will be at Oracle Park, as the San Francisco Giants are set to host the NL East leading New York Mets. With that said, taking a look at what happened with the end of the soccer seasons overseas, starting off with the English games. The team that finished at the very top of England was Manchester City, as they were, of course, they would see their title hopes be put on a tightrope, and they would end up coming back from being down 2-0, and they would score 3 goals in the matter of 5 minutes in order to win the Premier League title. Their first goal will come from their German midfielder Ilkay Gundogan. Their second goal will come from their Portuguese defender Rodri, and then of course their third goal will come from Gundogan, from them to come from behind and win, as they would finish 1 point just ahead of Liverpool. And of course, I will do a review for the Premier League season, but of course, just going through the games yesterday, the team that finished second in the Premier League was Liverpool, as Liverpool would end up beating Wolverhampton 3-1. Their first goal would tie the game up, and it will come from their elite Senegalese forward Sadio Mane. Their second goal will come from their elite Egyptian forward Mo Salah in the 84th minute, and of course, they needed a win to at least have a chance to win the Premier League. Their third goal will come from their elite Scottish defenders Andrew Robertson in the 89th minute. And sitting right after them, the team that would finish third in the Premier League was Chelsea, after they would end up beating Watford. Their first goal will come from their elite German midfielder Kai Havertz, and then their second goal to, of course, give them the win would come from Ross Barkley after Watford tied the game in the 87th minute. And then sitting fourth in England in the Premier League, getting that fourth Champions League spot, would end up being Tottenham, as within this particular matchup, Tottenham would go on to finish by beating Norwich City 5-0. They would see a brace come from Kulusevski. They would see a goal come from their elite English striker, Harry Kane. And then they would see a brace come from their elite Korean forward, Son Heung-min, as Son would tie with Mo Salah for the most goals in the Premier League this season. And he and Harry Kane will combine for 40 goals between them, as this would be yet another season for the ages for them. Sitting fifth was Arsenal, as Arsenal would end up beating Everton 5-1. And taking a look at how Man U would go on to finish sixth in the table, as they would end up losing to Crystal Palace. That's how the season would pretty much end there. Taking a look at how things ended in La Liga, the second place team Barcelona ended up losing 2-0 to Villarreal. Third place Atletico Madrid would end up being Real Sociedad 2-1, as their goals came in the second half from Rodrigo de Paul and Angel Correa. And then the fourth place Sevilla squad would end up beating Club 1-0, as their goal would come from Rafa Mir. So that is how Spain is going to look going into this upcoming season, as Real Betis would finish 5th, Real Sociedad would finish 6th, and Villarreal would finish 7th. And of course, I will do a review for this season as well, for this past La Liga year. And then taking a look at how the Italian season would end, the team that would go on to win the Serie A title would be the AC Milan squad. That would be Sassuolo 3-0. They will go on to they would take a 3-0 lead in the first half with a brace from their French striker Olivier Giroud, and then Franck Kessie would score in the 36th minute, as Rafael Leao I would imagine, I believe he assisted all 3 goals to help them win. Sitting second in the table was Inter, as they were able to beat Sampdoria 3-0. They were able to get all their 3 goals in the very start of the second half from Ivan Perisic, and they got a 3-minute brace from Joaquin Correa. So that is how Inter would finish their season, just 2 points under, and this was after Inter had won the Serie A last season. The team that would finish third would be Napoli, as they ended up beating Spezia 3-0. And then it looks as though that is how the Serie A season would finish, as I will do a review for the Serie A season as we continue with what's going on today. Today is the German Bundesliga promotion/relegation playoff game. Hertha Berlin is currently trailing Hamburg 1-0 after the first leg. If Hamburg wins, Hamburg will get moved up. If Hertha wins, they get to stay in the Bundesliga. That's pretty much the stakes of this game. But with that said, that's all that I have for you today, as today is Monday, May 23rd. I will follow this up with the season reviews for the Premier League, the La Liga season, and Serie A. And I do have an individual profile today. But I do want to thank everyone once again. I do hope all is well, and I'll catch you with more tomorrow. And until then, I hope all is well. Thanks for listening to my piece, and I do apologize for butchering the names. But I do want to thank the NBA, NHL, MLB, and FIFA sites, because like I said, without them I wouldn't be able to do this. But keep following along, and I will have more to bring to this show. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you with more as the world of sports continues on. Thanks for listening to my piece, and peace out. I'll catch you with more.